And now we're on the third claim in chapter 2. This claim says that the Gospels' chronological differences are historical contradictions, right? So how they place the various events and accounts chronologically, he's suggesting, they're contradicting in terms of the history, right?
And we covered a lot of these, and there'll be cards above and cards below in the description of our going over Jason Lyle's Keeping Faith in the Age of Reason, where we kind of dig into, well, okay, this does seem like a contradiction. Well, not quite a contradiction, because that whole conversation, but also timekeeping and certain ones. So we went over many of those. So those links will be included as well. Yeah. Here, Ehrman's critique stands only if someone were to try to make the Gospels into something they were never intended to be. Ancient literature from this time period often did not narrate events in exact chronological order. We see that a lot in Matthew, especially. Again, who's he writing to? A Jewish audience. Sometimes when you're making lists, you put the person of prominence first, where we would say, oh, well, I was third born, so I'm third in the list. That would make the most sense. Unless I was super famous, right? Then I would want to be number one.
That's right.
So it depends on what's there. Instead, historical events were arranged for thematic and topical reasons. Now, that's not saying that we're not going to what Lydia McGrew talked about, where you have this. Well, I moved it around for various nefarious purposes, or I wanted to make a point here. So Jesus didn't really do this at the beginning; he did this at the end. But this is talking about needing to read what's actually being done in the text. So this is clearly seen in the gospel as each author felt the freedom to arrange parables, sayings, and other events in view of their particular purpose.
Right. So, for example, Ehrman cries foul when Luke's gospel places the tearing of the veil in the temple before Jesus' death, while Mark puts it after the crucifixion.
In fact, I think we did this one specifically in our other book.
Right. But our authors tell us that there seems to be a simple reason for this rearrangement. Like Luke likely mentions the tearing of the veil prior to the crucifixion in order to put it besides the other cosmic signs that were happening that he was describing, right? In other words, Luke is providing a list of cosmic signs without claiming any particular order for these events. So that's one way to explain it.
So in the natural telling of the crucifixion moments, he's saying, here's certain things that happen, and he's grouped them together. He's not saying, here's exactly when they took place in this part of the story. He's saying,
all of these things happened during the crucifixion.
Here's a theme of, here's a list of all the things that happened. And it's again, we do this as well. And so to read this as, well, he's going along and then intersects this where another author doesn't. Well, is that author writing within the scope of the historical claim, or are they saying, hey, here's a list for theological purposes?
Yeah.
This type of flexibility in chronology is frequent not only in the Gospels but other ancient literature. Once fundamentalist presuppositions are shed and the Gospels are allowed to be what they are and what they were intended to be, Ehrman's claims of chronological contradictions appear more skeptical than scholarly.